Happy Halloween. And thanks for tuning back into the channel. Hilarious Jammin' coming back at you with yet another video. And today, since we are coming up close to Halloween, I figured I'd show off some of my favorite movies to watch around this time of year. Mostly horror, some children, some family type movies in this pile. I have a nice huge big pile of movies here. Blu-ray, VHS, DVD. We're just going to go through them one by one. I don't want to go into too much detail and explain every little plot and twist and turn and cameo and all that good stuff in each film, because I want to try and make this video as short as possible. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and dive right into this. By the way, if you've seen any of these movies, let me know what you think of them, or if you have any recommendations for me that was not shown in this pile, please leave a comment down below. So let's go ahead and dive right into this thing. The first up, we have the Evil Dead franchise. This, of course, is like an awesome franchise by Sam Raimi and, of course, Bruce Campbell. We have Army of Darkness. We have both the Evil Dead movies, and we also have the Evil Dead reboot, which is but this one, these have always been my favorite movies right here, is the Evil Dead franchise. If you haven't seen these, this is definitely pretty gory. So, might not want to get the kids involved when watching those. And then next up here on Blu-ray, we have a stellar cast, House of the Long Shadows. Basically, you got Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, John Carradine, kind of invading a haunted house type deal. I actually picked this up from Hastings before it went out of business, and this is from Kino Lorber Studios. So you know it's going to be good if that company put it out. And then we also have the Amityville Horror. This is a really good one to watch this time of year. Basically about a haunted house, supposedly based on a true story. Some people say it's a cash grab. I really don't know what to think of it. But the controversy surrounding it all is just insane to me. But the movies are still good and fun to watch. And for Halloween, might give it a try. I watched it when I was a little kid and it freaked me out. So, next up we have kind of more of a lighthearted comedy. We have Gene Wilder's Young Frankenstein. Just a really fun movie to watch. It's it's just a slapstick type comedy. You got the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond, and of course Gene Wilder. May they both rest in peace. But just a really good, funny take on Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster. And then the next up, we have a anthology horror film, Tales from the Hood. A very cool movie that's kind of more urban, if you will, but it's a whole lot of fun. This is a really cool movie. Very hard to come across. If you can come across this film, pick it up, whether it's VHS, DVD, or Blu-ray. It's a very hard movie to find now, but it's definitely a lot of fun. It's a very good movie. And then next up we have Night of the Living Dead, a George Romero classic. Very fun movie. This is one that you can pop in on Halloween night, turn the lights out, get yourself some snacks and just watch this one. This is probably one of my favorite zombie movies. I think this is the one that really started the whole zombie franchise, and it's from Blockbuster. That's a company that I grew up with, and I'm probably never going to get rid of this tape because, Blockbuster was part of my childhood, and now it's, of course, no more. And so, but yeah, good movie. And then after that, we have Alfred Hitchcock classic Psycho. This is the granddaddy of slasher films. I do believe this is the one that really kind of, put slasher films where they are. And so we have Alfred Hitchcock to thank for that, and his, and also Anthony Perkins' performance as the psychopath. So, very good movie to watch around this time of year. And then a more family-friendly oriented movie, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. This one's really fun. It's got Don Knotts. Of course, everyone knows Don Knotts as Barney Fife. But yeah, it's just he, kind of stumbles across a haunted house and ends up making the whole town go crazy about it and all that good stuff. And so yeah, that's a fun one to watch for the whole family. And of course, we have a Vincent Price classic, House of Wax in 3D. I don't have a Blu-ray 3D or a 3D TV. You can still watch this on a standard Blu-ray, but this movie was made to be for 3D, kind of like Friday the 13th Part 3 or, some other ones that I can't think of. But yeah, very fun movie to watch nonetheless. You can tell that they were trying to make this as as 3D as possible, and I think that they succeeded pretty well. And so, yeah, Fitz Price classic. Next up, this is one of my favorite Wes Craven movies of all time. This, I kind of feel like the kids are more the heroes in this one. This is The People Under the Stairs. And what's really interesting about this movie, it's actually based on a true story about some burglars breaking into a house and finding some people living under the stairs, like children that were kidnapped. And I don't know, it's weird. It's a crazy movie. But check it out. Good one. And then more family-friendly oriented, we have The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and we, of course, watched this one for Ichabod. Nothing wrong with Mr. Toad, we still love watching that one, but for the Halloween festivities, of course, we stick with Sleepy Hollow. So, good movie. And then, going along with that one, we have Jeff Goldblum in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This is my VHS tape from way back when. This one's actually really hard to find now, so if you can come across this on any kind of format, I would highly recommend picking that one up, because it's a super rare tape. But yeah, Jeff Goldblum in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And then another classic tape that I cannot find anywhere else except on eBay for high dollar is Creepy Classics with Vincent Price. Basically, you get a bunch of different movies cut into one, and just Vincent Price hosting the thing. It's a classic movie, man. That's one that I grew up with and I love. And then we have a classic 13 Ghosts. This is a really cool movie from William Castle. I would highly recommend checking this one out. Basically about people summoning a Ouija board and bringing out all kinds of ghosts, and all this crazy stuff happens. And then here on DVD we have The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. This is another fun one, just a really lighthearted thing to watch. Just a lot of fun. The episodes 5 through 7. I kind of wish you got 1 through 4, or maybe 8, 9, and 10, but oh well. These will do for now. I still have the other ones on like the big box sets. I'm too lazy to pull them out. I'd rather just get one disc and just throw them all on at once, but whatever. And then next up for this isn't necessarily a Halloween movie. It's kind of based around Halloween time, which is why I like it. This is Can of Worms. This is a Disney movie. This one's actually pretty hard to come across, so if you can find this one out somewhere, I would highly recommend picking it up. It's a fun movie. It's just basically about a kid making contact with aliens and just things going awry. And then, of course, we have a classic, another blockbuster film, Halloween, with Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasence, John Carpenter. Really don't feel like this movie needs any explanation. If you've been watching my channel for some time, you should know that I'm a huge Halloween fan. And of course, Halloween is just not complete without some Halloween, you know what I mean? And then, of course, we have the Halloween 4K. I already talked about that one, so we'll just set that one right there for now. I like that case. I don't want to scratch it up. And then this is a really classic film. This one's pretty hard to come across now. I think you can get the DVD, like, for a good, decent price, but the VHS, though, that's a different story, and that's Monster Squad. Fun movie, just, you know, basically about like the Universal Monster, kind of a throwback to Universal Monsters, how they're trying to take over the earth, and it's up to some of these kids right here to save the day. And yeah, this is just a fun movie. I've grown up watching this movie, love the heck out of that one. Great film. Of course, I already talked about this one. This is the Criterion cut of Night of the Living Dead. Can't go wrong with that one. Classic film. And then that one's not supposed to be in the pile because it's not horror related. And then we have Ghostbusters. This is a fun one to watch. Just scientists, you know, coming up with their own business on catching ghosts. And this is a great movie. I love this movie. The first and the second movie. And I really don't feel like this one needs an introduction or an explanation. Ghostbusters. Good movie. And then, of course, the Friday the 13th franchise on VHS. I have 1 and 2 here. And I have the other ones elsewhere. But, yeah, this one's my favorite one, though, when he has that potato sack over his head. I love that movie, man. That's a great movie. Friday the 13th Part 2. And 3. Those are probably my favorite Friday the 13th movies. And then a classic gothic-type horror movie. This is Christopher Lee's City of the Dead. I still have yet to open this Blu-ray and watch it. I probably should do that here soon. But, yeah, it's Christopher Lee classic. And I picked this one up from Hastings before it went out of business. I got it for like $2. So, yep, City of the Dead. And then next up, this one is one I grew up watching for like my whole life. This is a childhood tape of mine. This is the Halloween Tree from Ray Bradbury, and of course Hanna-Barbera. May they all rest in peace. But just a classic cartoon. If you've not seen this cartoon, highly underrated. I'd recommend go picking it up and checking it out, and just having a good time with it. It's fun for the whole family, you know. It's family friendly, nothing gory, nothing crazy happens in that one. So, and then next up we have John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. I think this is one of his underrated movies. You basically get Donald Pleasance and Victor Wong fighting Satan. What more can you ask for? Great movie. Check that one out. Great for Halloween. And then the next up we have The Thing from Another World. Black and white classic film. Basically about an alien coming into the Arctic and just a bunch of stuff going awry. So that's a great one to watch. And then of course it wouldn't be complete without John Carpenter's remake of The Thing. You can actually see this movie right here in John Carpenter's, one of his first movies, Halloween, whenever the kids are watching TV. So I think John Carpenter really loves this movie as well. And of course he did the remake, so. Yes sir, The Thing. And then another John Carpenter classic is The Fog. This is a great movie. This is, man, John Carpenter is pretty underrated for some of his movies, like Prince of Darkness and The Fog. Like, this one's really cool. Very creepy, atmospheric type movie. Recommend that one. Good one to watch for Halloween. And then of course we have Pet Sematary. This is just a great one, basically about, you know, people coming back from the dead from a pet cemetery and stuff. Yeah, check that one out. Great one to watch for Halloween. This one's a highly underrated movie. This is Frankenstein and Me. I don't think this one's gotten a DVD release. I'm hoping that somewhere down the road, like maybe Scream Factory will put this out on Blu-ray or something. But yeah, basically these two kids lose their dad, and you know, they try resurrecting a Frankenstein monster, and I don't know. It's a fun, silly movie. I can only find it on VHS and Laserdisc. I cannot find it anywhere else. Like I said, I'm hoping Scream Factory will try and put that one out later on, but we'll see. Whew. Okay, we're getting close. So the next up is The Blob. This is a great 80s horror movie. It's kind of like a David Cronenberg type horror movie. Both the original and this one are great, but I recommend this one. I think this one's a little bit more better than the original, just because I kind of like the theme and setting behind it all. Nothing against the first one. I love that one, but this one, I think, man, I'm not much for remakes, but that one really did a pretty good job. Then of course Tobe Hooper classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Steelbook. Just a fun movie. It's kind of more based on like summer, but still a fun one to watch for good scares and stuff on Halloween. And then the next up we have another one that's really hard to find, kid classic, Under Wraps, about a bunch of kids finding a mummy and kind of bringing them to life and stuff, and just things going in completely insane. This one's very hard to come across. If you ever find this one out in the wild, I would recommend picking it up. And then of course we have Tim Curry's It. Very fun movie to watch. You can either watch this one or the remake. I think they're both great, but I do like Tim Curry's performance because it's Tim Curry, you know. And then the next up here we have the entire Universal Monster franchise on VHS. Of course we have The Creature from the Black Lagoon, needs no introduction. The Mummy, Boris Karloff. Bela Lugosi's Dracula. The Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr. The Invisible Man Returns. I don't think Claude Rains is in this one. I do have the original Invisible Man somewhere, but I have tons of Universal Monster VHS tapes, and I grabbed this one because this is a pretty underrated one. I believe Vincent Price is in this movie. And then Boris Karloff's Frankenstein. Here's Claude Rains right here. The Phantom of the Opera. Great movie. And then of course with that we also get the Universal spin-off, Boris Karloff Presents, Thriller, a bunch of different shows. This is one of them, The Prediction. Good stuff. Very highly underrated show, if you've never seen it. Then of course, Halloween's not complete without Hocus Pocus. I've talked about this movie before. Done a Steelbook unboxing of it, if you've seen that. Then of course we have Salem's Lot. Very good vampire movie. We have Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton classic, one of Tim Burton's first films. Very good movie to watch for Halloween. Very fun. and it's pretty family friendly. There's like maybe one or two things that it's like but if you're like kind of strict, my parents were kind of strict. My parents didn't let me watch this movie until it came on TV edited, and then I found out there was only like one curse word in it. So, but yeah. Another good zombie film is The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. This is a fun one to watch. Kind of like Night of the Living Dead. I'd probably recommend putting Night of the Living Dead and this one together, Last Man on Earth. And but this is based off of a book, I Am Legend. They did 2 other movies, you know, with Charlton Heston, the Omega Man, and then Will Smith's I Am Legend. But I think this one's the best. So, and this one's pretty easy to come across. So that one. Yeah, you can find that on almost anything. The Uninvited, a highly underrated horror gothic kind of a film about a haunted house starring Ray Milland. This is the Criterion cut. Go check this one out. And then, of course, this one, I like watching this around Halloween time, The Dark Crystal. This is a Jim Henson classic movie. It's fun, and it's pretty scary in some areas. And so that's why I like this one to watch during Halloween. I don't know why. I'm kind of weird, but whatever. And then, of course, we have the Nightmare on Elm Street collection. If you want to cut it short and just watch the first one, hey, they're all great, but the first one's the best. Even Wes Craven said so in Scream. And then, of course, we have Abbott and Costello's Monster Collection. This is a really cool set, man. You get Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you get the Mummy, the Invisible Man, and, of course, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Probably one of their best movies so far. So far, I mean, like they're going to put out something tomorrow. And then this is one that I kind of like watching for Halloween time. This is E.T. Childhood VHS E.T. with a green casing and stuff. I love this movie. It's not necessarily, you know, like Halloween oriented. It's just based around Halloween time, which is why I like watching it around Halloween. And then we have George Romero's classic Dawn of the Dead, follow-up of Night of the Living Dead. Great movie. And then we have Killer Clowns from Outer Space, B-movie, cheesy, but a whole lot of fun. Great movie. Highly recommend this one. And then this one was recommended to me by my dad. He passed away earlier last year, and God bless Mill Creek, man, because they put out some really cool stuff. And this was one that he recommended to me, and he couldn't find it anywhere online or nothing. But luckily, Mill Creek got the rights to this movie, and they put it on this classic horror set, and that's The Man Who Turned to Stone. Very good movie, very fun, just very underrated movie. If you can find this movie, The Man Who Turned to Stone, I would recommend getting that one. It's a pretty gothic kind of, and it's pretty freaky for the time it was set. It's a black and white horror film, but just really crazy. I don't know. Just go watch it. And then the next up, of course, we have Poltergeist with Craig T. Nelson. You know, basically just a bunch of spirits taking over a family's house and a bunch of crazy stuff happening. But yeah, the Poltergeist, of course, that's a classic movie everyone should watch. And then, of course, we have Ernest Scared Stupid. I love watching this movie. This is the first horror movie I've ever seen, man. I don't care what anybody says. This is a horror movie. That troll in this movie is freaking scary. I saw this when I was like 4 or 5 in the theaters, and it scared me to death. But I still love this movie, man. And rest in peace, Jim Varney. Great actor. And then the last of the whole pile is, of course, the childhood Hanna-Barbera cartoons. This is fun to watch for the whole family, or if you want to just be like me and just can't let go of your childhood and want to eat cereal in front of the TV while watching some good cartoons around this time of year. Of course, we have like Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. We have the Flintstones meet Rockula and Frankenstone. We have, and by the way, some of these tapes are really rare and hard to come across, so if you can find them, man, I would recommend picking them up. And then we have a haunted house, a haunted house is not a home, and Swamp Witch, Scooby-Doo. This one's pretty hard to find, getting very expensive online. And then we, of course, Scooby-Doo and Mostly Ghostly. And then Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. Like I said earlier, some of these tapes, man, if you can find them, snag them up while you can. Trust me. So, yeah. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. That was a lot of movies to show and talk about. And I know I talked a little fast. Tried to get through as many as I could, as fast as possible. But, yeah, if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them. But, yeah, if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them. Or if you have any recommendations, like I said earlier, leave a comment below. And so, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to go take a nap now because I'm pretty tired from all that. So, alright, peace.